questions or comments?
No, that was my question.
I have comments.
Yep.
When this 2023 proposed budget was put before us last month, I clearly stated that I would not support a budget that reflected higher taxes, higher borrowing, and higher spending. None of that has changed since, and for that reason, I will be opposing the 2023 county budget. There's glaring expenses that I find to be unnecessary. One that's constantly mentioning is the outlandish Justice Center construction project, which was originally budgeted to be $280 million. That has now grown to well over $400 million. There's other capital projects that I find to be entirely too expensive. One being the construction of the storage warehouse at the Eagleville campus, which is over $10 million. And another is the construction of an archive record building that's $8.3 million. So there are a couple quick examples of expensive capital projects that are causing borrowing to increase and taxes to increase. And the private sector would never build these type of structures for the cost that we're building them because it's not sustainable. And beyond these extravagant capital expenditures, I've routinely imposed increased spending on contracts related to mail-in voting, for example, which have added millions of dollars in additional costs to the county operating budget. And I've also opposed what I consider to be unnecessary or redundant staffing positions. For example, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Director, a high six-figure salary job, I believe is not necessary, and it's also redundant when you consider the consulting contracts we have with vendors that are doing the same type of similar work. And the way this was all proposed and the timeline of events is very disheartening. We are proposing, and it'll be passed today by my colleagues, a tax increase, at the same time a salary increase in 2024 for future elected county officials. And it is a slap in the face to the property owners that are facing a county property tax, in many instances a higher municipality property tax and school district tax. And a lot of it goes back to outlandish capital projects. And I'll give you an example that's local. The Colonial School District constructed a very expensive new middle school. The Plymouth Township is considering building a new township administration building, and their school district and township taxes are likely to increase along with their county taxes. So this is a trend that is not sustainable, and I hear from several members of the public that do not agree with this, and they would simply like us to scale back. We're taking more money out of their pockets, and at the same time, government expenses are growing. They're not being curbed, it's not being frozen, it's growing. And the fact that elected officials in the future will have a higher salary, a 12% salary increase for elected officials, is wrong. And it's also going down a slippery slope because it signals to the couple thousand county employees here in Montgomery County that do not like what was done. For example, non-contractual county employees receive a 4% salary increase and a 12% salary increase for future elected officials. I believe that is an insult to the employees, and you will eventually see more collective bargaining and organizing in various departments with the county, which will in return increase more spending. So I consider this position to be public service, not self-service. I submitted a letter to the Human Resources Department this week explaining that if I am a commissioner in the future, I will not accept a salary increase. This is supposed to be public service. And for a handful of elected officials to receive that type of increase is unacceptable. So I am opposing this budget. I know I will be outnumbered 2-1, but I want the public to know that I do my absolute best over the course of the 7 years I've been commissioner to point out anything I view as ineffective or too costly or unnecessary for you, the taxpayers. And to think that we have 3 property tax increases in a row is absolutely unacceptable. And I will proudly vote no and continue to do my best to curb spending and protect the taxpayers in Montgomery County. And that concludes my comments.
So these are difficult decisions. They have been made very deliberately. They've been made by exploring a number of options. And it's for those reasons that I am supporting this budget.
So you can't talk about wanting to help people in need, but then talk about you can't raise the revenue to do that. So this is a tough budget. I know it's tough times for all. But you know, I'm a little tired of people talking about helping people until it comes time to put your money where your mouth is. We're the second wealthiest county in Pennsylvania. We can do more and we can do better for those in our community who need it the most, which is why I intend to vote in favor of this budget.
And I would like to add additional comments that I disagree with that outlook, where it's difficult to just increase spending and increase taxes to pay for that additional spending year after year, because that's exactly what the two of you do every time we have the budget. You increase taxes and you increase spending. You don't hold the line on spending, you don't hold the line on taxes. That's when the real difficult decisions come into play. And I'm glad it was pointed out that I oppose every budget tax increase and spending increase that you put forward. Thank you for clarifying that for the public.
All right, if there's no additional comments, we'll move to a vote. Ms. Washington?
Chair Arkoosh.
Aye.
Mr. Lawrence.
Aye.
Mr. Gale.
Opposed.
Motion carries.